Hello, hello. This is the awful and awesome entertainment rap. I'm Abbas,
And this is Nainika.
and this is episode 288. I feel like I have not been on for a really long time.
A really long time. Both of us. We've been far away for way too long.
That's true. You have been making a few appearances, Nanika. I do keep checking in.
Appearances?
A couple of times you've appeared with Abhinandan on the show.
Yes. There was that.
Yeah.
Yes. But the last time I recorded, that was with you when we were talking about Monica, oh my darling. Yeah.
Yes, that was a long time ago. I was about to say that for the first time I think since we started doing this together, we don't have a superhero thing to talk about.
Finally, I mean, technically we do have like one little thing, but it's not a superhero movie. I did not have to spend like 3 hours or like the length of a full TV series on it. So I am very, very, very happy. Yeah.
All right, so today we have two
a
TV
long
shows,
list. Yes, a very long list of
films,
things.
a long list of things we have to cover. 2 films, 2 TV shows, one fashion show which we have done before, and the aforementioned superhero thing is the new DC slate of movies, which just confirms that for the next 10 years or 12 years, till whenever we do this, we never run out of superhero things to talk about.
Clearly.
And
if
that's
I
about
keep doing
right?
it for another 10 years, I'll keep being punished for another 10 years.
We'll come to that.
We will
So
come.
I have mostly covered most of the stuff that
Yes.
we are going to be talking about.
Yes.
But since this is awful and awesome, and in keeping with the tradition of Abhinandan not watching stuff, let's start with the one thing that you actually managed to catch
Yes.
in the theaters this
Yes.
week, and I wasn't.
Okay.
Which is the newest Anurag Kashyap film, and it has a very long title, but it goes with the. I mean, half of the title is Almost Pyaar.
Yes, and the other half is with DJ Mohabbat. So it's Almost Pyaar with DJ Mohabbat. It's kind of weird because the movie was released with like no promotion, nothing. I actually watched the movie without watching the trailer. I didn't even know it was a movie till you were like, hey, Anurag Kashyap's releasing a new movie. I might catch it this week. I was like, that's insane. But I did end up going and watching it. And yeah, I actually walked out of the theater angry. So
Oh, okay.
it was just, how do I put it? Yeah. Well, okay. There is, I would say, like, this is the plot or something of that sort, but there's no plot per se to describe. Like, it's a very weird, convoluted plot, and it makes very little sense to me because it was treated in that weird haphazard manner where you feel like the movie was stitched together last minute. You and I, we watched a lot of stuff together, and I think this is like my standard criticism for a lot of things. Especially things that are released like really under the radar, where I'm like, the distributor just needed to get this movie out to make some money back, but I feel like it wasn't, properly done. So I mean, see.
So before we get to your thoughts, Nainika, what is your relationship with Anurag Kashyap and his cinema?
Okay, I was actually going to talk about it. And yeah, I've not watched a lot of Anurag Kashyap work. I have not watched his magnum opus, which is Gangs of Wasseypur. I'm sure somebody in the comments would be willing to murder me and telling me.
Can we stop this podcast right now and just watch Gangs of Wasseypur back to back?
I know somebody's going to be like, oh, she's too biased to be able to talk about this. But I have not watched Gangs of Wasseypur. In my defense, Gangs of Wasseypur is this cultural behemoth that I technically know of the plot and the characters, and I've seen like 5,000 snippets of it without ever having watched the movie. So in a way, I have watched the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Have you not been on dates where the guy just explains the genius of Anurag Kashyap to you for the next 2 hours?
I've definitely known people who've done that, but I feel like one of the things I'm really blessed in the department is that I can tune out noise. So I'm sure something of that sort must have happened. Point is, I actually, watched DVD like really recently. Like 2020 was the time that I actually, when the lockdown finally happened, is when I watched DVD. And the thing about DVD is it may be like whatever, as a movie, a lot of people love it. And I think it's like some XY years of anniversary coming up for it now. But the thing about that movie is it still manages to deal with its female characters with a little bit of tenderness. Like Anurag Kashyap has I think to a little bit of a degree, understands women or understands what like female emotional inner life is
Atyachar.
like, emotional atyachar, yeah, female emotional inner life is like he doesn't, at least for Devdi, he did not treat us as like, disposable, whatever.
Right.
I mean, we were just not there to torture the man and ruin his life and then become like an example out of. But this movie, oh my God, it's like two parallelly running love stories in two completely different environments. So one is like small town Dalhousie and the other one's happening in London. And yeah, it's the story of like those same characters playing like, it's Alia, whatever her name is, and this Karan Mehta guy who's a new actor. They play both the characters in both the settings.
Yeah.
And they're in love and they're very young people. Like Alia's characters must be what, like 16, 17, 18, and the guy must be what, 21, 22 at best. So not even particularly old. And they're in love, and it's just about, how like caste and, no, not caste, like religion and class comes in the way of love being fulfilled, which is, I believe, it's an interesting, like, given the times that we live in, which are already so stressed and so strenuous, and I think this could have made for like a really good movie, but it was just, I do not know what was happening. The plot point was shoved with like 500 different motives. At the end of it, you're actually pissed because it's like, what it does a disservice to the very politically charged topic that it's trying to cover.
Okay.
So I was just a little pissed while watching it.
Do you think it's one of those which bit more than it can chew, or was it one of those?
Definitely. I think it was trying to do like, like parallels between this and that, and it's trying to shove so much into just one movie. And on top of that, there is this really over the top like musical score in the background, because music is like a big part of this movie as well. Whatever basement Anurag Kashyap keeps Amit Trivedi in, he made him produce a lot of music out of it for this one. But it was just like all of it felt like, oh God, you need to relax a little. Like, Anurag Kashyap did this thing where he shoves a movie with like 5,000 personal motives and plot points and whatnot, and which is something every young director wants to emulate, because it's like, it's such a personal way of making a movie. But I feel like Anurag Kashyap can give it up now. Like, there is a significant amount of his work outside. He doesn't need to shove 5,000 things into the same movie. It can still, even if it's a simple, well done, well acted movie, it will do its job. Which it did not do. Like Alia's character, she's playing two different girls of completely different like class and social standing in two completely different locations, and yet she manages to be a manic pixie dream girl in both the settings, which is like, she's young, she's stupid in love, and she does things that the consequences of which are bad, and then the guy who she's in love with ends up paying the repercussions for that. But it's just like, it just felt disrespectful. Like, is this girl so stupid that everybody who falls in love across like I don't know, multiverses is just like cursed and doomed? So it felt a little disrespectful. I understand that love is like a pain point for a lot of people, and it takes a lot of hope and courage to be able to treat love as an emotionally like charged matter and make art around it also that is well done. But yeah, this one was, you can safely miss it in the theater and not lose out on a lot. So yeah. So
can I firstly just say how proud I am that you used the term multiverse, because that's
okay, fine. I know, I'm being brainwashed a lot by watching this.
So, it's very interesting because I am one of those, or rather I was one of those guys who would mansplain Anurag Kashyap cinema to the women I would go out on dates with. And especially his first, I think 5 or 6 films, Black Friday, Gulal, No Smoking, were all like, Are ye to mera cinema hai, like this so edgy, indie cinema. But I think you're right, excess is something that I have always had a problem with Anurag Kashyap. I think all his films
so excessive.
are at least 30 to 45 minutes too long than they require to be.
And I'm a very excessive person by nature. I'm very much a maximalist. Like, do 500 things if you want to. But it's just like, even if I say this is going a little over the top, then it must really be going over the top. So,
So, but I just want to make a comment about the last couple of films he's done. So I think post Bombay Velvet, which was his big bomb at the box office. So he made Mukkabaz, which I like. Okay. I think that's his last really good film that he made. Apart from that, the last couple of films he's done, Man Marziyan was also, I think, partly good. Have you seen Man Marziyan?
I have not.
Okay. I think Man Marziyan is decent. But Choked, Dobara, and now Almost Pyaar. So Choked came out during the lockdown. It was released on Netflix.
It was the one where Rajkumar Rao gets trapped in a...
No, that's Trapped.
Sorry. Oh, that's Trapped, yes. What is the plot of Choked? Jog my memory.
So Choked is supposed to be this heist, not heist movie, but it's supposed to be this comedy of errors kind of a thing. It's supposed to be a comment on demonetization, where this woman
Oh, okay,
chances
okay.
upon currency notes which are banned, and there is this whole sort of comedy of errors to nahi keh sakte, but some switcheroo happens
Is
because of
Choked the
which
one with it was released on Netflix. It starred Roshan Matthew.
I think yeah,
Yeah,
because
okay,
I mean
okay.
the cast was full of newcomers, so I
Ah,
might not
okay.
be able to recollect the actors. But I saw that film on Netflix, and I thought it did not require the demonetization angle at all. So I
Yeah.
think it was force fit into the narrative. Then Dobara again is a remake of a Spanish horror film, which was well done, but I didn't really find any Anurag Kashyap flavor in there. And now Almost Pyaar is also
I feel
like you
like
described.
he's taken on this role where people expect so much of him. So he's supposed to be
Yeah,
this pseudo cultural commentator, but he
yeah.
doesn't necessarily need to do that. Like art can exist for its own sake. It doesn't necessarily have to take on this political undertone,
Hmm.
because sometimes you can make something that comes deeply from your heart and it can still be political. You don't have to, you know, co-adapt like political narratives to make a good movie. So
Hmm.
yeah.
I've been enjoying the tour of interviews he's been doing for the
Yes, I
promotion of the
think
film,
yes,
though,
that has been a
because
lot better than whatever this
yeah,
movie
because he's
was.
quite unhinged in his interviews. So yeah, those have been much fun to watch. Then I guess the movie. Anyway, I might go for the movie tonight.
Yeah, just
Actually,
yeah, actually
after this
go
episode.
after this, watch it, and then get back and tell me whether if you disliked it as much as I
All
did.
right.
Maybe
So
I'm
so
being a
what
little too harsh also, but like it's whatever.
what's Vicky Kaushal's role in the movie? He's
We,
the DJ
oh
Mohabbat,
God,
isn't
there's
he?
no rule. He's supposed to be the DJ Mohabbat, like the one in the title. But he doesn't do
Right.
anything. He just appears and gives advice here and there. And he has this podcast going on where he gives like advice about love and whatnot. And it's just like, okay, thanks. You're married to Katrina Kaif. You shouldn't be giving advice about love out.
But so
You
this is
lucked out.
supposed to be Anurag's sort of not tribute, but his attempt at portraying the love of Gen Z.
Oh God, you know
And
what? Sick of it.
considering Nainika, you're closer to Gen Z than I
I
am.
think I am. I've never really, cared about where I fall on the millennial Gen Z spectrum, but whatever. Point is, listen, like love isn't fundamentally different for young people just because we have like dating apps right now, okay? Like it.
Ooh, so that's an interesting point you brought up about the dating apps, because we'll talk about that when we come to one of the two TV shows that we're discussing. But let's talk about the more buzzy TV show of
Yes.
the two that we're discussing, the one that's been dominating social media. It's called The Last of Us. So The Last of Us is the newest prestige HBO show,
Yes.
which has taken the same spot that shows like Game of Thrones and House of Dragon did. It's based off of a video game, a very, very popular video game. Just to give an example, I'm not a gamer, but I still have a good
Played
idea
this? Have you
of the
played Last of
storyline.
Us?
I haven't played it. I've seen a couple of playthroughs on YouTube. Which if you don't know is just you sitting in front of a
No,
screen
no. I've
watching other
watched a lot
people.
of playthroughs for The Witcher, so I know what you're talking.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I've seen a couple of playthroughs for Last of Us. I was vaguely aware of the general premise of the show. So in short, the show is about a man called Joel, who has to take care of a little girl whose name is escaping me right now. Uh, do you remember the name, Nanika?
No, but I know she's played by Bella Ramsey.
Yeah,
Ellie,
from Game
Ellie,
of
Ellie,
Thrones.
Ellie, Ellie.
Ellie, yes. And there's a group, it's a post apocalyptic setting.
Yes.
Something happened in 2003, which brought about a pandemic, which sounds very familiar.
Yeah,
But
oh God, too
what
familiar.
happens in the world of the show is this pandemic takes over the world in merely a matter of days. And it's not a viral infection, but a fungal infection that
Yep.
has taken over
Yep.
people. And people essentially become zombies, and the show follows a group of people who are some of the last remaining people in the United States, and it is a commentary on how humanity will change in a situation like this. In the first, I've seen 3 episodes so far. So in the first 3 episodes, the narrative keeps shifting between pre-pandemic, the few days
Yes.
when all shit went to hell, and then 20 years later, which is 2023, their version of 2023, where things have gone completely insane. and how this man and this little girl form a bond between each other. So, Nainika, what did you think about it? I have some very strong feelings about the show, but I'd like to know what you felt.
I will start off by saying that most media around societal collapse really puts me on edge because it is one of my biggest fears. I'm usually not comfortable with the topic because it always sends me into a tailspin of like, would I survive a pandemic? Would I survive a zombie apocalypse? And I think the answer is no, because I don't have any of the skills that you need to survive a pandemic, like a social collapse, societal collapse. So yeah, that always puts me on edge. So I was a little like apprehensive about watching it. I thought I wasn't going to watch it, but then I had to watch it for this. So I just, went into it. Listen, it did not. I've not played the game. I know it's very highly acclaimed, but it did not leave as much of an impact on me. Like, it's a decent enough show to watch, and I know it's prestigious. I know they've put a lot of money into it. The imagery around like societal collapse that they have is pretty well done, but it's still just like the only emotional impact is just like making me anxious. So I think like I'm not the biggest fan as of yet. Like, the story isn't gripping enough for me to overcome that fear and watch it.
Okay, so let's. How many episodes have you seen so far?
3.5.
Okay,
4 have released as we record this. So
four have been out since at the time of recording. We're recording this on the 8th of February.
yes.
So from what I believe, the first 2 episodes had good reviews and good sort of response.
Yes.
But it was the third episode
Yes.
which sort of brought this avalanche of great reviews and a lot of emotional sort of reactions. And just to give a synopsis of the third episode actually is almost like a standalone episode where they follow where the audience gets to see the love story between two men.
Yes.
We sort of leave behind our protagonists in the first couple of minutes of the episode, and then we follow this completely new character played by Ron Swanson from Parks and Recreation,
and the person from White Lotus season 1.
Yes, and we are shown that he's this conspiracy theory nut who
survivalist
in the situation of a pandemic that
works out very well for him.
Paranoia works in his favor, and he's able to survive for a couple of years, and then he comes in contact with this other character who's played by this Australian actor who was very good in White Lotus as well. And then we basically for the next 12 to 13 years
they live together.
With certain time jumps, we see their love story, which is very well done. It's very tenderly done.
It is very tenderly done. It was, it was insane that he managed to survive, 17, 18 years together, all in a pandemic, like complete societal collapse. There's not even anybody else around them. But yeah, hats off to the preparation that Ron Swanson had done to be able to survive this complete societal collapse. But But it was... it's talked about a lot, and I understand the need of everybody wanting to see like true, genuine, emotional tenderness on screen, which was represented in this scenario. I wasn't as obsessed with it. I thought it was very well done. I'm not going to say that it wasn't, but maybe it didn't leave like as much of an emotional impact on me. So
I think where maybe you and I sort of we did not have the surprise element of it, because I think when people saw it for the first time, they've seen 2 episodes which have followed the fairly conventional idea of a post-apocalypse zombie show, and then in the middle of that you suddenly see this very tender love story. Which
I already was aware. I already was aware that it's going to happen, so I think it wasn't as much
without giving much away. The moral of the show is no matter what situation you are in the world, you will always find someone to care for, and certain things are just not in your hand.
Yes, absolutely. And it talks about like death and mortality and how difficult it is to deal with, and how much you need love and hope to survive even in the absolute worst situations. Abbas, every time we do Awful and Awesome, we somehow find a way, like we're just like watching TV shows, but we find a way to talk about death and love.
I'm coming to that. So I'm here to tell you my sort of my view of the show. It was a tough watch for me.
It was a tough watch for
those few early scenes where they show total, when the
collapse,
fungal infection starts happening, and we hear reports on the radio, and it's spreading through the world. And even though the time period in the show is 2003,
Yes.
we just experienced it like 2 years ago, right?
Exactly.
Maybe not in a few days. Actually, for us, it was literally a few days where the prime minister just came on TV and he was like,
hey,
from
listen,
tomorrow,
we're shutting down everything. I think for them, it was just like a really accelerated timeline. Like the disease gets discovered, and by the evening is just like everything is just
everything goes to
off.
shit. Yes.
Which was, I remember like 2017 or so, this author Sidin, who is known for the doc series, etc. He released this book which was supposed to be about like a mutated version of the Legionnaires' disease, which is the kind that you get by standing at like close to air cooling units. So yeah, it's just like a really aggressive version of the Legionnaires' disease and how it completely devastates the country because it's a pandemic. And I was like, damn, that was a tough read and it's so scary. Hope I never have to go through a pandemic in my lifetime. 3 years later, well.
I have to also mention the opening scene of the show, the very first scene of the first episode,
yes,
which is a 1960s talk show where
there is a
virologist who's talking about a viral pandemic, and then, which I am 101% sure was rewritten after the pandemic. That scene had to be put in there. And then the fungal infection expert is like, if only the temperature of the earth kept increasing.
Yeah, because they're like, yes, let me fuck you up by telling you about how scary it can get for you. But yeah, it's an actual fear. Ice caps and all melting. Like, you do not know what's frozen in the ice and what's coming for us. Sure hope I never have to find out.
I also think that the show is a commentary on 9/11.
Yes.
Because
it's around the same time.
Yeah, it happens in 2000. The pandemic in the show happens in 2003. And there is this inbuilt paranoia in the American psyche that just never went after 9/11. And one of the first lines that the kid says when the pandemic breaks out is, did the terrorists do this?
Oh, yeah.
And then later on, we see in the imagery, there are two large buildings collapsing on top of each other. And the character played by Pedro Pascal is an ex-soldier.
He's a veteran.
He's a veteran, yes. So I think there is a bit of a commentary in there as well. The show is created by Craig Mazin, who did Chernobyl. Did you watch Chernobyl?
I actually literally just January, last week, sat down to watch Chernobyl, but I just got caught up with something else. So I never really finished it. But I was very excited to watch it when it had first come out, because nuclear disaster is like a cool thing to, So
I think what's different about The Last of Us from other prestige HBO shows, I think that even in something like Game of Thrones, where characters are dying left, right, and center, there is a certain sense of I won't say joy, but a certain sense, a sort of projectile motion that's moving the plot forward.
Yes.
Whereas The Last of Us just soaks in the depression.
Correct. Exactly. I think that was my biggest problem with it as well. You're dealing with a topic that is already as desolate as complete societal collapse in the wake of a zombie pandemic. But you also diffuse it with no hope, no tenderness. It's just coldest, weirdest situation that you can watch. It's all so sad to look at. So Abbas, I have to ask you, in case of a zombie pandemic, are you a survivalist? Are you going to make it through? Do you have excessive preparation for it? My day has come, or you're just going to be bye-bye?
No, I think I'll be gone in the first 5 to 6 hours.
Interesting.
Yeah, I give myself a day tops. Not more than that.
If you make it through a day, you're like, oh, I won this already.
Yeah, I was it was a good run.
Oh God.
What about you?
I feel I personally do not know if I have a lot of will to live, but I think if I do try to hold on,
it'll be different conversation.
Yeah, if I do try to hold on, no, will to live in the case of societal collapse. Otherwise, I'm fine. If things are running smoothly, I'm cool. But I would probably hold on or try to fight on for people I love, friends and family. Otherwise, I'm you know what? I don't really care. I'm wearing good clothes. I'm lying down, and you can come and get me, so I can peacefully leave.
So for the first time, I felt like maybe this show was too soon. I mean, I know that it's been in development for like since pre-pandemic,
Okay.
but I felt like I don't know,
Yeah,
it
like we're
was a
not
little too
ready. We're
soon.
still a little traumatized. Maybe you could have given
Exactly.
it a
Yeah.
little, like, the whole concept of bioweapons and disease devastating the world. Yeah, like, yeah, you know what? We literally just saw it like in 2021. So maybe like chill out. So yeah.
So I think it's a like I it's a very sort of a cautious recommendation
It
that the
is,
show is very
yes.
well done, and
It is
it's
actually
very
very well done. I will
yeah
say that
yeah
completely. The storyline being like the whole different deal. Maybe it's your ballpark, but it's a very well
yeah
done show, very well written, very tightly done. The characters are good. Bella Ramsey has an excellent American accent. You can never tell
yeah.
that they are actually not American. And Pedro Pascal is good as always. He's a wonderful
Yeah.
actor. And I'm glad he's getting his laurels now, like as he
Mm.
should have gotten a long time ago. So yeah.
I did. I recently came across a meme a couple of days ago that he was actually a guest vampire in an episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer back in 1999. So
Damn.
he's been struggling since then. So I'm really
Oh
glad
my
that he's got his
God. I'm
day in the
glad
sun.
I'm glad he's getting his due because I do think he's a wonderful actor and he has the
Yeah.
capacity to hold a screen very well.
Yep.
Good for him.
Cool. So that's a cautious recommendation
Yes.
from me and Nainika for that. Our producer Aditya saying he and Bella are the same ages as DiCaprio. Oh my God, as
I
DiCaprio
actually saw this meme where people are like,
as
Bella
DiCaprio and his
Ramsey is
latest
what's
girlfriend.
18, it was 19, and Pedro Pascal is 47. Leonardo DiCaprio is
Wow.
48, and his current girlfriend is 19. I'm not sure whether it's actually his girlfriend. Apparently, it's just like a paparazzi thing. But
Uh-huh.
but yeah, interesting. I'm not going to comment on it because people feel like a lot of different ways about age gap relationships and whatnot, and I have nothing to say really. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, see, if they ever make a movie version of this, Leonardo can just play Leonardo and his quote unquote girlfriend can play the leads
Oh God.
for the Last of Us.
My God, do not say that. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So those were our thoughts about The Last of Us. Before we move on, I'd just like to remind all the News Laundry subscribers that Abhinandan and Rajshri did an episode with Amit Gupta, the singer. They interviewed him, and you can watch a short excerpt of that interview right now.
And here Amit is in our studio. Hi Amit.
Hi, how are you? Hi.
Oh my God, are you very nervous?
Yes.
This is your first interview
My first interview.
and first album.
Yes.
So,
First everything, yeah. First time ever that I'm doing an interview on my birthday.
oh, it's your birthday
Yes,
also.
it's
Oh my
your
God,
birthday.
happy birthday.
You should
yaar.
have sung happy birthday.
Okay, fine. Happy birthday
I don't
to
want to
you.
scare you, Sarah.
But she's giving the excuse that she's got
I
a sore
sing
throat.
well, I'm Bengali. I
Even-
have to sing
You
well.
have to, yeah.
It's just natural.
Dude, you have no idea how bad she
No.
is. I'm not joking. Even when her throat is not.
Sarah
So-
record songs and send it to Abhinandan just to complete his deal.
But so tell me, Kali Kali Raat is a very unconventional music video. It shows a couple, but they are not of different genders. So tell me, you wrote this song, you composed it, you've done everything. How do you come up with this? Is there any level of collaboration that happens, or is it a very lonely journey to make this?
I think it starts with a lonely journey, but as and when I think audio is one output of and one segment of it. Then when it comes to video, then it's a whole different world. So we thought that audio is anyway, about anybody can perceive it in a certain manner. It can be about genuine love or general love. But when it comes to visualization, then it should be something different, should be on the screen. So we just thought, and we had people, we started in Dehradun, and we thought of doing it with same gender, because there were too many boy and girl love stories going around. So we thought, okay, fine, we'll do probably 2 guys. But of course, Dehradun, nobody was willing to do it. So then we...
Is that right?
Yeah. So then we got 2 girls and they were willing to do it. And we were very happy.
So you initially thought we'd get 2 guys, but
Yeah.
no 2 guys want to.
Yeah.
Be on camera.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
And that too in Dehradun.
Yeah.
But Amit is
I
several,
won't say anything
several
about it.
decades my junior from school. You didn't study it in school. You do Riyaza. You have a guru, you said?
Yes. She is... she's learned from Patiala Gharana. So she was earlier Patiala Gharana based, and now she is Indore Gharana, which is Amir Khan Saab की तरफ से जो lineage है. But I do study, and I would not say that I'm a classical musician or a classical singer because वो level बहुत ऊपर है. And I study it to kind of understand the notes and just have that sthirta that I want. And if your skill is good, and my guru says this, that 50% skill and 50% dil comes out in a performance, right? And if you have anything more of that, दिल भी थोड़ा ज़्यादा हो सकता है, लेकिन स्किल लोगों को पता चल जाता है कि स्किल अगर आपका कम है तो बेसुरे हो रहे हैं या फिर थोड़ा सा इधर
but you're good enough to pull your guitar at a party and everyone say, Myth. even if you can't perform it, the Bhimsen Joshi type of league. But,
absolutely.
But you can,
I can definitely do that. Yeah. I actually had a very brief stint in Dehradun recently. I opened for Lucky Ali.
Oh, you did?
Yes, and it was a very good moment for me. He is my idol. And I sang all my album songs because they wanted some independent, original songs to be there. And it was amazing. People really loved the songs. And then after that, people were calling me left, right, center. So I got into the whole zone of going around and performing. And then I also sang a bunch of things which I didn't want to sing. Dancing around, doing some party.
Okay, that.
So there's a mix of both. So it's a good understanding of what do you want to sing, how do you want to take your career or this path forward. Choosing the songs wisely, basically.
Have you seen Ashiki?
I have.
So in that,
Yeah.
Rahul Roy is a crooner at a restaurant. Says, "Aaj Mr. and Ms. Pistonji ka birthday hai. Happy birthday."
Or you could have seen it said, "Have you seen A Star Is Born?" Might have been nicer.
Might have been nicer, actually.
No, rather Jesus Christ Superstar, all those.
Ashiki's.
But tell me, did you get stage fright when you opened for Lucky Ali? Because or you don't have?
Yes, I did, but before getting on the stage.
Because I find this very interesting that a lot of performers, actors and performers who perform on stage and musicians and all, say that they have stage fright.
Yes.
And for such,
Yeah.
it's a career which expects you and to be performing all the time.
I think I'm blessed with a switch. I have a switch, like it just comes on. I'm a different person when I'm on stage. And it just, I think a riyaz really matters. If you've done your practice, then itna idhar-udhar nahi jayega. Maybe the first song is not that great, but you kind of come in the groove and then you get the public going on. But you can just start with, "Hello guys, how are you doing?"
So let's see hear a song that you play. Just
Okay.
first play one of your songs and I have a request after that.
Oh, perfect.
I have
Baba
a request.
Sagal.
Baba Sagal, you don't sing, he raps. Whenever you're ready.
So this is a song about the night, right? When couple of us, when people sit together and the night is beautiful, and it could be for a lover, it could be for friends, anybody at all. But it's such a nice night, and you have twinkle in your eyes, and you just remember that night vividly, just because of the twinkle, probably. काली काली रात है, तू भी मेरे साथ है, जादुई ये बातें तेरी मेरी, ठंडी ठंडी सांसों में खुद को खोया है, सच्ची मुलाकातें तेरी मेरी मेरी मेरी, मैं तेरा 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 हूँ आजकल, मैं तेरे संग ही रहता हूँ आजकल, मैं तेरा 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 हूँ आजकल, मैं तेरे संग ही बहता हूँ आजकल.
Very nice.
Very good. You have the one skill that I've always wanted to sing. You sing so beautifully.
All right, so at this point, unfortunately, we have to say bye to our video viewers on YouTube. The rest of the episode is still available on the News Laundry website. The rest of the episode, of course, is behind the paywall. So do subscribe to News Laundry and pay to keep news free. You can listen to the rest of the episode on the News Laundry website or wherever you listen to podcasts. So bye, video viewers.
Bye-bye.
The subscription model is something that keeps News Laundry afloat, but we need hundreds and thousands of people to completely transform the news ecosystem. So you pay for news, so it serves you. So click on the link with this video subscribe to News Laundry and pay to keep news free. और गर्व से कहो, मेरे खर्च पर आज़ाद है खबरें.